BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. I hope you're well today. How are you? I hope you're well. How has your week been? I hope you can see and hear me. Let me know in the comment section if you can see and hear me. It's very hot today, so I've got a fan on. Let me know if it's disturbing you with the sound, okay? Because my eyes watering. I put this on to also absorb some of the heat. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here in the Gambia in West Africa. Welcome to BlaXit. Thank you for joining me. I'm using a different phone and I can't really see the information that's in white. And so I'm sorry if I can't see your information, but I will try and work on that. But anyway, welcome to BlaXit. BlaXit is a portmanteau of black and exit, meaning the exits of the black people from the West back to the best, and that is Africa. So is my head in there? Can you see me? Just making sure, because my head looks like it's cut off. Okay, that looks okay, I think. Okay, so BlaXit family, let me know. Okay, thank you, BlaXit. Thank you to our person that's doing our moderation today, and that is Kafre. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We were supposed to have a guest on. Kaf, can I borrow the other phone, please? Let me try and message him. I'm using a different phone today, so please. I'm just getting used to it. It's a little different to. I'm not used to iPhones, so sorry. It's a little different to what I'm used to. Okay, I'm just going to try and get our guest on today, but I want to say super happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to you all. And thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing. Gosh, I'm so sweaty. It's wet everywhere. Right. Thank you for joining BlaXit this week. I am Nyancho Kajabi. I am your hostess with the mostess. And I'm also CEO and founder of BlaXit. And I'm also self-appointed stateswoman calling for all African descendants to have citizenship. Sorry, I'm doing two things at once. I got a bit distracted. Citizenship across Africa. So thank you and welcome. I am a repatriational specialist, and I help you make that jump from the West back to Africa. We help to facilitate your land acquisition, your construction, all of your documentation, and of course, your residency, your driving license, and any other processes, whether it's school, starting a business, anything like that, we will organise for you. Okay, so that is what we do. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you very much for being here on BlaXit. We appreciate you so much. Thank you to our A1 Day Ones that are here. Please let me say hello to you by putting your details in the comment section. I'm just trying something. 1 minute. Oh my goodness. I've just pressed something and I'm not sure of what I've pressed. Hang on. Ooh! I've pressed something. I was trying to look for something else, but I've pressed the wrong thing. It looks like I've done a mirror image of myself. Hang on. Wait, I want to. Oh, look at this one. Now got. Ooh! This is a strange one. Sorry, I'm just waiting for our guest. So I was just playing about with some of the new features that they've got. What do you think of my eyes? Cat's eyes. Okay, let me take this off. Let me stop playing about. I was actually looking for another feature, but I can't find it. Oh my goodness. Ooh, this is very strange. I don't like that. Okay. Okay. Let's just waiting for my guests to come in. So Liliani Resurrection, how are you? Welcome to BlaXit. Um, yeah, Cafe's well. I'm good as well. This one seems to create a delay. I'm looking for something, right? I'm really sorry, but I think I'm looking in the completely the oh my gosh. I think I'm looking in the wrong place. Um, someone told me about a feature that they have, and oh my goodness. Oh, I've done something and I don't know what I've done. Um, help, Gav. Uh, I'm really sorry. I'm new to this phone, and so I'm trying to. Can you help me move this back up, please? Oh, that's it. It's back up. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Yeah, no, it is 4 o'clock now. It's 4 o'clock GMT. It is 4 o'clock GMT. Um, I know, but you said join at 4 o'clock. Yeah, it is 4 o'clock. It's gone 4 p.m. I did say to him GMT. Oops, GMT. I put HMT. I'm really sorry. But anyway, so much has been happening. So much has been happening. So much has been happening. I have some great stories, and I also have some venting to do because I'm very annoyed. Last week, I was very happy with Zimbabwe because they didn't go into the health bill with the American First Health Bill Initiative, and I was very happy with them. But then I learned that this week they have given up and given back farmland to white farmers. Not happy. I've got some effect on and I don't know how to get rid of it. I'm so sorry. Let me just. How do I take them all off? I was looking for something completely different and it's making my face look very strange. Okay. So I don't know how to get rid of it. If I look different, it's because I've got an effect on it, and I didn't mean to. I don't like any of these kind of effect things, lenses and all of this sort of thing. That's not me. I just like to be natural. I was looking for something completely different, and I've gone into the wrong section. These are our new things that are and on. So I'm trying. But anyway, Liliani Resurrection. How are you? How's your week been? How have you been? So if I look a bit strange today, I do apologise. I was messing about and I don't know what I've done. So happy Mother's Day to you. And we'll try. How about you? Yeah, we're great. We're great. So I just want to say something that is really important. I want to say to all of the mothers out there who have, been raising their children um, either as part of a family, because without our fathers for our children, we would not have children. So, who are raising their children, some women are raising their children, unfortunately, single handedly because their partners, passed away or because their partners were cowardly and wasn't able to stand up to their responsibility. And unfortunately, they were weak men and they aborted and abandoned their responsibility to their children. And I do know what that feels like because I'm currently in that situation myself. And that's what weak men do. But there are plenty of powerful men, good men out there that are standing side by side with their queens and raising their children. I salute you on this Mother's Day. But this message is for all mothers. Motherhood is a very difficult thing, and I want everybody to appreciate that. Even carrying a child can be life threatening. Even just carrying a child can be life threatening and can be a very difficult thing for a woman to go through. Many women even miscarry and lose children and go through severe trauma, unfortunately, and they go through a lot of pain, a lot of pain. And some mothers are left with, they have no financial support from the fathers of their children. And sometimes they don't have any parental support from the grandparents. So there are many women out there that are struggling, and there are many women out there that are unsupported. And I just want to say to you, I salute you and I respect you and I appreciate you, because I do know that it is not an easy thing to do, to raise a child on your own. And many women that are seen as single parents, you know, there are these kind of immature men that have no idea and no respect for women, that, you know, sometimes frown upon single parent women, not realizing that they were abandoned by weak men who sometimes, you know, use their promiscuity and their lust in order to go and abandon their responsibilities. But not all men are the same, and there are good men out there who stand by their responsibilities. But this is for the women that have been out there having to take the role of both mother and father. I salute you today. And we have had so many warrior empresses that have raised such wonderful kings and emperors out there that have achieved wonders. And I do think that the balance is correct to have mother and father um, in the home, regardless if it's the biological father or not. Because I had a man in my life, and I met him. I don't usually talk about this, but I'm going to. I'm going to. And I met him when I was, I think I was 20. So 20? I think so. Yeah, I think I was about 20, 21. Yeah. And he's a barrister. And, you know, he met me, and I had my daughter from a previous relationship. And I was supposed to get married, in fact, and but it turned out that the man turned out to not be the kind of stand-up person that I wanted to marry. So I didn't go ahead with the marriage. And I went into this relationship with this barrister who's now very well known, and was in a relationship with him on and off for 16 and a half years. But to this day, my daughter is 35 years old, and he's still been a father to my daughter, even though it wasn't his biological child. And there are many good men out there like that. They really are. And so I just want to say to you, Sean, I salute you. Yeah. I salute you for also being a magnanimous father to my daughter. Okay. Thank you to our daughter, because you've treated her as a father should, and you've been there for her throughout her whole life, even till today. When I was not able to go to her doctorate presentation, you was there on my behalf. Thank you. So I salute you. Okay, thank you very much, Sean, for doing that and for being there. I respect you 100% for doing that, and for not running, not abandoning, not ghosting, you know, not ignoring your responsibilities, but taking her as your own child. And I adore that about you, and I will always, always, always respect you for that reason. Yeah. And when I say love, I'm talking about universal love, in case you want to get it twisted. Okay. So thank you, Sean, for that. Okay. And I think that, you know, mothers, if you have good fathers, also thank them. It's not just Father's Day, because mothers, they wouldn't be mothers without having fathers for our children. And us as mothers, we shoulder so much responsibility. You know, we have to do the shopping, we have to get the children ready for school, we have to get, you know, do the budgeting, we have to make sure that the houses, we provide housing and shelter, and, you know, we provide an education at home, and balance and unconditional love and nurture. for our children. So, I just want to start today by basically saying, if you are a woman out there, you are a mother out there, and you come from a mother, let's all salute our mothers. So I salute you to my mum. My mum, she had me when she was quite young as well. And she turned out to be an amazing woman. She was a headmistress for, I don't know, I think it was nearly 30 years. And she was a great, great role model for me. And so, my mom has always supported me. I called her today. My mom and I aren't on the same page with regard to our belief structures, but, she was in church. And I called to say Happy Mother's Day and to let her know how much I love her. So I want to say, for all of us, let's just let our children know, and our mothers know, and the fathers of our children know, how much we love them. Also want to say thank you also to Keith, who's the father of my son, to say thank you very much. Thank you for being there, constantly being a father for our son. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Those two men have been like steel in my life, and I appreciate them both, and they've both been there for their children, and I love them for that. And I think us as women, we have to also give credit to the men in our life that have done well, because the relationship ends doesn't mean that we have to stop giving the men that have contributed in our life positively, the praise and accolade that they deserve. So I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you so much to Sean and to Keith. Thank you so much. So moving forward, yeah, and also, I did have someone who helped teach my son to drone, teach my son to pilot, and how to also look at life from a different perspective. So I would like to also say thank you to you, KD, for also playing a role in our lives. So thank you. And thank you to my grandmas. Yeah, thank you to my great grandmas, and thank you to all of my grandmas from the past. Thank you so much. So anyway, that's the thank yous over with. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to you, all the mothers in BlaXit. I love you so much, and I appreciate you so much. And if no one doesn't tell you how valuable you are as a mother, I'm going to salute you as an empress today. I salute you, empress. All right, thank you so much. Okay. So our guest said that he's going to join us very soon. And I have a good friend called Donny. And I want to say to Donny, who lost his mum recently, I want to say, I salute you. And your mum was a powerhouse. And you should be very proud in celebrating her life today. Thank you, Donny, for being a good friend to me over the years. So anyway, wow, there's so much going on in the world today. There's so much going on in the world today. And there's something that I want to say, that I know this whole situation about South Africa seems to have caught fire, and it all seems to still be going on. And I want to address that, right? And I want to send a message out to South Africa. South Africa, I want you to match Burkina Faso's growth. Burkina Faso is not going out doing what a small group of people are doing to shame your country and to shame yourselves. Yeah. Look at their growth. Look at what Burkina Faso is doing. They had their culture week, and what an amazing event that was. Yeah. Match Burkina Faso for their confidence in standing up against the oppressor, as opposed to turning on themselves. Please match their unity to now create the Sahel and the alliance of Sahel with Niger, with Mali, and with any other nation that will join with them, in order to become a proactive organization for the progress of Pan-Africanism and for Pan-Africans and for Africa globally. I salute them. Follow that example, please. Yeah, match their imagination, right? And imagine feeling proud of your brothers and your sisters. In Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahima Traore embraces his brothers and sisters and from other nations, and I respect that. And he knows who his enemy is, and I respect that. He's turning colonization out of his country and embracing his nation. That is what you need to do in South Africa. Match Burkina Faso. Match Burkina Faso's nationalism and embracing all of the different cultures and African nations within Burkina Faso. Match their brotherhood and their sisterhood. Match their cultural resonance. Very proud of their culture, very proud of their solidarity, and match their solidarity. Your African brothers and sisters from different nations, you are still Africans, so match their solidarity, okay? Match their fearlessness and their pursuit of independence and sovereignty. Match that, South Africa, match that. And then you will be on the right path. Stop this self-hatred and turning on each other. It's embarrassing, okay? It's like you want to start just disunity and disruption and discord. It's not acceptable. It's not acceptable at all. Stop doing it, okay? And you know what? Do you know what's plaguing us? BlaXit family, do you know what's plaguing us? It's fear of white people and white savior syndrome. It's fear of white people and fear of ourselves. Yeah, it's fear of our future. It's fear of history repeating itself. It's fear of uncertainty, fear of love and stability, fear of change and transformation, fear of judgment of others, fear of the unknown, fear of the consequences of our actions, fear of the known, fear of knowledge, fear of power, fear of dying, fear of our enemies, fear of facing our fears, fear of failure, fear of taking risks, fear of the truth, and fear of what comes next. Right? But we have to confront this fear and beat it. They are scared. They are fearful in South Africa of the white man. They are. That's why they're going after their own, because their real frustration is not with their own. Their real frustration is with the white man, but they cannot. When they see the white man, they become, respectful and humble and, indifferent. Why are they not doing that? Why are they treating their own with such venom, such aggression, and such anger? Okay, I want to send out some of the messages. Babukar, yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon from Amsterdam. Thank you so much. And hello, it's Nyancho. You can call me Nyancho. My English name is Juliet, not Julian. Okay, so thank you. And how are you doing? Sending my love and regards to everyone in African countries. That's lovely and beautiful. I'm sending love and vibration also. The big one. I need the big one. My notes are in here. Oh, you want it? Okay. Can you bring it back? Okay. Sorry. And so that's what we're suffering from, fear. We're suffering from fear. Fear. It's like we've been paralyzed by fear. It's like a parasite. And they've put this parasite into us. Hang on, what's this? Calf? Hang on a minute, what's this, calf? I don't sound mind watching myself. Sorry, 1 second. Calf's just assisting me with something. Thank you, my darling. Okay. Anyway, yeah, we've got this fear. And in South Africa, they have a fear of white people. That's the reason why. And in Zimbabwe, how could Zimbabwe, how? Zimbabwe, how could you give back after what Robert Mugabe fought for, what Robert Mugabe stood for? How could you give these white people back their farms after 25 years? Robert Mugabe must be turning in his grave because we fear them. Because we fear not changing their systems. Because we fear not changing their laws. Because we fear not changing their constitutions. Because we fear that we're not good enough and that they're better than us. Because we fear that we don't belong ourselves enough because we fear each other. What is this about? What is all this fear? We're fearing, relationships and stability. How can that be? How can that be that men are scared of commitment? Like, what kind of man are you? What kind of man is scared of commitment? What kind of man can't, get past his past relationships and get past hurt and deal with it and heal himself? What kind of man is scared of a woman anyway? Fear. It's all about fear, and we need to tackle it. We need to tackle this deep-seated fear that we have because it's destroying us. Why do we have a fear of death if we know that we are going to transition into a better life? Isn't that what all the religious scriptures and spirituality teaches us? So why do we fear death so much that we can be manipulated into being courageless? What is it? Fear of losing money, fear of being penniless, fear of being homeless. They're using fear to manipulate us every single day. And we're buying into it. This is a thing that challenges me. Every day we are buying into it. Someone said to me, I have some questions that I have to answer before I get into today's program. I know I tapped on the topic of Zimbabwe because they were scared of the white man. That's the reason why, you know, they gave them back their farms, 67 farms. And I heard there was a transfer of 400 to white farmers and only 800 to black farmers. I don't understand. What are they scared of? What are they scared of? I want to say also thank you to Sabine for that was a great show. But what are we scared of? Why are we even scared of each other? Black men are even scared to have relationships within their own race. They're so scared that they run to white women and face terrible consequences some of the time that they're so afraid to talk about. So many black men are abused in their relationships with white women, psychologically, emotionally, physically abused. And they won't talk out about it because they came out of their race thinking that they were going to something better. And then they wake up every day in fear because that woman puts it over them. I can call the police and say, you raped me. They're not going to believe you. They're just going to believe me. I can call them and say that you were hitting me. Yeah? They live their life in fear. And because of what? Because they couldn't get over their mummy wounds or their daddy wounds and face themselves and go and be with someone who looks like themselves, who was the right match for themselves. It's very, very important that we do this. Yeah? We can't, live like this. We need unity. We need unity. It's very, very important that we find unity with each other. It's very important that we find unity within ourselves. Very, very important. But anyway, so much has been going on this week. I don't even know where to start. And our guest today is a man called Anthony. He's going to introduce himself. But I think the change that we need starts with education. I think education is where it starts, and I think it's important that we start there. And we're going to be talking about a project which he has, which is crucial for us and our future generations and leaders of the future. Because when we have scared leaders, that think it's better to put a white man in a position than a black man in a position. Yeah, that's going to have impact on other black people severely. You know, we have to stop being scared. We have to stop being scared of selecting each other, employing each other, training each other, developing with each other, growing with each other, sharing with each other. We have to. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about this week is about the project they're calling Project Nimbus. I did put a post out, but I know not a lot of people really read my wordy posts. So I'm going to just quickly read the post to you because I think it's very important moving forward so you understand what coming. Okay, I always give you future warnings, and I gave you future warnings about Korea as well, if you remember rightly. And I gave you future warnings about a few things. I also gave you a future warning that there would be a war. Okay, a war. So this future warnings, I said, BlaXit family, it's time for us to stop using Google AI search, or at least wean ourselves off, right? Or use it on a phone that doesn't have your personal information on. Okay, use it on a phone that you don't have anything on. So you only use that phone for that Google search. Okay, and I'm going to tell you as for why. Project Nimbus, the recent contract with US and Israel, yeah, is a surveillance, is US and Israel surveillance military contracts. You think, well, how does that impact me? Why has that got anything to do with me? Why is the show talking about this? You know, what's this surveillance got to do with me? Is because it encompasses everyone and everything, including you. Okay, so basically, it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous that the workers at Google DeepMind's London headquarters have officially voted to unionize. And that was as of the 5th of May, 2026. And the unionization, drive, yeah, which is one of the first of its kind at a major frontier AI lab, which was largely motivated by opposition to the company's military contracts. So AI is doing, Google is now doing military contracts. Listen to me. The detailed unionization vote, approximately 300 London-based employees participated in the vote with an overwhelming 98% in favor of unionizing. Now, why do they want to unionize? This is what you're asking, right? What's the danger? What's the threat? Why? Okay, let me continue. They want representation. That's why. They want representation, and they've asked for formal recognition of the Communion Workers Union, the CWU, and also Unite, the union, as their joint representatives. Unite is another union, okay? And it's with an E on it, Unite, UNITE. And if recognized, the union would represent at least 1,000 staff tied to the London office. A letter was sent to management on the 5th of May, 2026, giving Google 10 working days to voluntarily recognize the union before formal legal proceedings are launched. Reasons for the dispute is that the workers' primary goal is to gain leverage to block, listen to this, to block, yeah, to block the use of their AI models in military settings. Specific concerns include US military contracts. The move followed a classified deal between the US Pentagon, I said it wrong, US Pentagon, sorry, the US Pentagon and Google, along with other AI firms. to deploy to deploy technology on military contracts. Okay, workers remain staunch to produce a 1.2 billion cloud and AI contract with the Israeli government. Okay, 1.2 billion cloud AI contract with the Israeli government. The Israeli government citing concerns about its role in surveillance and targeting in Gaza. Policy reversals. Employees are protesting Google's recent removal of explicit pledges not to develop AI for of what? Mass surveillance. This is not just for Palestine, fam. This is for you Pan-Africanists. Okay? This is for you who wishes to put your head above the parapet and say, no, I don't agree with your, colonization. I don't agree with your capitalist system. And no, I don't agree. I think, you're imperialistic fascists. Yeah, it's for people who go out on a limb to change the status quo and say, come back to Africa. Okay? So they can then survey your plans and make blockages. Okay, so these weapons of mass surveillance. I'll say it again. These weapons. I'm reading verbatim. Weapons. WEAPONS. Yeah, they're weaponizing it. Weapons of mass surveillance from its official principle. Okay, ethical demands. Okay, so beyond halting military sales, the union, because they can't stop the sale, so the union is demanding that the creation of an independent ethics oversight body. So what they want is an organization that is going to overlook and oversight to make sure that there are ethical boundaries in terms of their ability to surveil you massively, to spy on you, to see all of your information and use it against you. So they've asked for an independent ethics oversight body and the right for researchers to refuse work on projects on moral grounds. So if they say, no, this is immoral, what you're doing, being able to look at Juliet's searches and then determine that, she's blah, 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 blah. Yes, this is what they're saying, okay? So this is what they want. They want to be able to refuse work on projects on moral grounds and also to have independent oversight on whether the projects that they're surveying or the people that they're surveying, the organizations that they're surveying, the countries that they're surveying, they're doing on an ethical basis. Because I'm sure that they want to do the same to Burkina Faso, okay, to Niger and Mali. So we have to get out of their systems. We have to get off their systems. Instead of using WhatsApp, we're going to have to go onto Signal, okay? We're going to have to start using some of the African ones as well, okay? I used one, but then it collapsed. But anyway, overnight to refuse projects on moral grounds because so many people subscribe to it at once. Anyway, management has responded by stating that it believes supporting national security is important. See, that's their justification, always a justification, okay? And that its current tools are not intended for autonomous weapons or mass surveillance without human oversight. Of course they would say that, but their employees don't believe them clearly. So why should we? Why should we? And this is why I say, when you're planning to come, to Africa, keep your plans, to yourself. And don't put so much out on social media, okay? Signal, Signal the dancing machine. MJ the dancing machine. Signal is an alternative to WhatsApp. But the encryption is different and it's more safe and more protected. Yeah? That's So, I just wanted to share that with you because things are getting challenging, and a lot of people they putting these things in, you know, newspapers like the Times and so on, they know that we don't really read that much, and so this is where they're hiding this information, you know, and we have to just be very, very careful about it. Okay, we have to be very careful about it, and like I said, there's a lot happening across Africa, and Burkina Faso is doing wonders. And I noticed that with the hostile takeover that happened in Mali, and we spoke about Kamara, he was unfortunately, killed. And we spoke about the weaponization. Sorry, 1 second. The way in which they have been given weapons ever have had. So someone's obviously arming them, and ensuring that they can do that. But I got to go back a little bit into what happened with Mugabe. What hurt me as well in Zimbabwe is that they paid the white farmers 1.46 million in compensation. Zimbabwe, where you get 146 million dollars in compensation when they haven't paid us one penny of reparations. Are we sick? Are we mad? Are you okay? Are you okay? They have not paid us one penny of reparations. And I'm talking on on a massive scale. I'm not talking about individual cases. All right, I'm talking about a proper, organized reparations program with restitution and financial compensation. So, how are you in Africa, 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 Zimbabwe? How are you, Zim, paying white farmers $146 million? How? You can see I'm a little bit upset about this. That's why I said new leadership is not always good leadership. And that's why I'm hoping that my guest can come on to today's show. So, this is what happened. And I said in my comment, this puts us to absolute shame. What is going on in the south part of Africa? Is there something in the water? This puts us to absolute shame. Whites received what I call reverse reparations, whilst they deny us slavery reparations. Mugabe would be turning in his grave 7 years after Robert Mugabe's death. Zimbabwe, he was still president of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe returns land to white farmers under new leadership. The government is handing back 67 foreign owned farms seized 25 years ago and is paying $146 million in compensation. I think we have gone a looko, mado, yeah? 840 black owned farms and 400 white owned farms, yeah, which were stolen from blacks in what can only be described as madness, is also being restored. So, because they're restoring 840 black owned farmers, where's the compensation to the black owned farmers for the loss of their farms? Hmm? I'll tell you what, I'm confused. I'm confused. Yeah, Liliani resurrection said insanity at its highest position. I agree. And then, if you remember, when I did my predictions in December, I also spoke about, I think it was Korea. I spoke about anyway. So listen, don't say I didn't warn you. So Northern Korea's deadly new rule. Let me share with you about it because it may impact on you if something happens to their leader. And this is why I tell you to come to Africa. Okay? This is why I tell you to come to Africa. It is our time. Okay? It is our time to come back home because North Korea has created a deadly new role. Okay? And you know it's aimed at them and not us. So we need to come back home because you're going to get licked and whipped in their karma. Okay? So Northern Korea's deadly new rule is that North Korea just made it official. Okay? North Korea just made it sure they changed their constitution and now have, imagine that. Look how quickly they could change their constitution. Yet when we're asking these African countries to change their constitution to see us as Africans, it's taking a million years. Well, not literally a million years, but it's taking way too long. Okay? Not literally a million years, I'm exaggerating. But I mean it's taking too long, okay? For most African nations to make that. So so what happened was, right, Korea, Northern Korea, have got sharp, very clever. Okay? They've got sharp, and this is why I say to you, you do not want to get sorry, you don't want to get mixed in the flow of things. Okay? Because listen, Northern Korea's deadly rule is that Northern Korea just made it official. They changed their constitution and now have a clear automatic policy. If Kim Jong Un, which is, of course, the leader of North Korea, is killed or assassinated, the country will immediately launch a nuclear strike. You heard me? Do you think they're playing? Do you think they're playing? No debate, no waiting for orders, automatic retaliation. Let that sink in. No debate, no waiting for orders, automatic retaliation. So if someone assassinates or kills Kim Jong Un, the country will immediately launch a nuclear strike. You hear me? I'm telling you, BlaXit family. I send you out warnings, and I'm telling you, before it was COVID, 2019, I warned you. And now I'm warning you again because I told you about World War III was already here. I told you. Okay? So no debate, no waiting for orders, automatic retaliation. This is what they call a dead hand policy. Did you hear me? A dead hand policy. Okay? It's called a doomsday mechanism designed to scare anyone thinking about regime change. Bam! To you, Donald Duck in America. Try it now. Yeah? So, what he's done in Venezuela, he can't do in North Korea. What he's trying to do in Africa, he cannot do in North Korea. And this is what Africa needs to do. This is what Africa needs to do to say, you cannot come in and mess with me. You mess with me, I will annihilate you. This is what Iran needs to do. And this is why they are afraid of Iran's nuclear capability. Am I encouraging people to go and use nuclear weapons? No, I want peace. No, I want peace. But can they use it as a deterrent? Yes. Is it a strategic move? Yes. So if America decides I'm coming in to do regime change, and they try and take out their leader, or they try and assassinate their leader, or they threaten their leader, even they know that the consequences are dire. Goodbye, America. Now, of course, I have family living in America. That's not what I want. I want world peace. That's what I want. But if it means that everybody has to arm up to stop this tyrant, this bully, Donald Duck, this murdering, evil, wicked devil wizard, this Donald Duck, from doing what he's doing, then so be it. Because sometimes if someone's coming for you and you have to wield a knife, wield that knife. It doesn't mean that you have to use it. But just someone knowing that you got something to defend yourself will stop them from attacking you, then that's what they've done. So they've come out on the offensive. But the thing is that, you know what I'm aware of? What I'm aware of is the fact that the arrogance, the sense of entitlement, and the ignorance and lack of intelligence of Donald Duck, the leader of the so-called free world, will be stupid enough to go and to test it. And that's why I say, come to Africa. If you are living in America, let me tell you, this man is putting your life at risk. If you're in England, they're putting your life at risk. You're in Europe, they're putting your life at risk. If you're in the Caribbean, in South America, too close to America, they're putting your life at risk. Listen, this man is not playing. He put it out in the public, and many people don't know because they don't read. Because where they publish it is in the large newspapers where people aren't really going to see it. But that is where I read. I will read Economic Times. I will read Sunday Times. I will read The Guardian. I will read Forbes magazine. Because I want to share information with you that's important that you might not see. So, like I said, it will be their country, North Korea, will launch an immediate nuclear strike. No debate, no waiting for orders, automatic retaliation. And this is what they call a dead hand policy, a doomsday mechanism designed to scare anyone thinking about regime change. And like I said, I don't embrace nuclear arms, nuclear weapons, nuclear war. But I will say uncategorically and very clearly that this is definitely a stance that will stop America or make them think twice, three times, maybe four times, five times before playing with them, and South Korea and everywhere else. Let me just add my guest. Oh, do it again. Okay, I think he's coming in. Thank you so much for joining me,
Hello,
Anthony.
everyone. BlaXit family. How are you all doing?
Thank you so much. I'm just going to finish my piece. We're just talking. I was talking about the importance of education in terms of changing the leadership, because before I was talking about obviously the move made by Zimbabwe on Sundays. We are talking about repatriation, relocation, and I do have some questions that I'm going to answer at the end of this program. But we were talking about some of the moves that were made, and obviously Zimbabwe this week, I don't know why, made a move to give white farmers back their farmland and pay them 146 million in compensation, $146 million. Wow. And I'm saying that we need an education for the leaders of the next generation of Africa tomorrow, and also we need critical thinking. We need skills. We need to re-educate out of the colonial mindset. And this is where you come in, okay? Yeah. But just let me just finish this quick segment here, okay? So, what is the message that Kim Jong is sending? Kim Jong Un is sending out the message that there is, do not touch our leader. And I wish that we could find someone to do the same for our leaders in Mali, our leader in Niger, and our leader in Burkina Faso, Ibrahima Traore. Do not touch our leader, or we burn everything down with us. This is what they've said. Their message is loud and clear. Touch our leader and we burn everything down with us. So, America, back off. North Korea is not playing. They have made it very clear. You touch our leader, try to, and we require there's no mercy. Okay, they've told you it's an automatic policy. It's a doomsday automatic retaliation. Okay, this was recently added to their constitution publicly. It's been publicly confirmed as well, and it shows how paranoid and unstable. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. What it shows is that they're thinking ahead. Yeah, they're trying to say it shows how paranoid and unstable Kim regime is or has become. You know, uh, with increasing pressure from the outside world. But I don't think so. I think it's showing their stance. They're showing that, you know what, you don't have no power, Donald Duck. And if you think so, you're going to get burned. And that is it. And the problem is that innocent people are always the victims of what is going on and the contention between these world leaders, because this regime change that Donald Duck is bringing out into the free world is only creating nothing but chaos and disaster. Look at what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz. Absolute chaos. It was running freely before he got involved. Before he put his two oars in. Donald Duck, get out. Leave people alone. Go and free. We all know that you're, but then he
No. Hello, everyone. It seems as though Juliet has frozen a little bit. So I'll just introduce myself. Juliet, do let us know when you are back. Sometimes the internet can be intermittent, but nice to see you all of you on the live. We currently have 14 people on the live, so do share it with your friends and family. My name is Anthony Oshodi, and I'm actually going to be contributing to the conversation on an African curriculum. Like Juliet mentioned, having a bespoke curriculum for Africa is so important. Hi, Juliet, are you back with us again? Oh, I believe it's frozen again. So yeah, like I mentioned, we'll just wait for the internet to be up and running again. Like I mentioned, I'm Anthony Oshodi, and I'm going to be contributing to the conversation on a bespoke African curriculum. So in the meantime, maybe in the chat you can give us some comments about what is needed if we were to make an African curriculum. What is needed while we wait for the internet to get up and running again? What is needed? Okay, so I'm Anthony Oshodi, as I mentioned, and I'm from a company called Eduhara. And Eduhara has created a bespoke curriculum for Africa for the 21st century. As you all know, there's a lot of curricula studied on the African curriculum that were created for the Europeans, for a Western world, but also the curricula were created post-war, post 1950. But actually, what we're looking at is how can we prepare the African youth for the revolution, the education revolution that is coming. And that's what I'm contributing to the conversation about. So over at Eduhara, we've really created a bespoke curriculum where it focuses and it goes right from ages 5 all the way up to ages 18. And we're currently developing our 18 plus curriculum where we help youth and we talk about how youth can empower themselves through developing skills such as critical thinking, use of technology, and we're really trying to develop those innovation, leadership, and entrepreneurial skills amongst our young people. So that's what we're really trying to do. And if we're thinking about Africa and Africa in particular, it's so important that the skills and the content we teach our young people are for and created for Africa and Africa alone. Now, some people may ask, well, why don't we just use any other curriculum around the world? Well, the reason is, so I myself, I am a biomedical science graduate, and I remember being in the lecture hall looking at skin cancer, and we were trying to diagnose skin cancer samples, and I didn't see one sample. I remember in my first lecture, we looked at 10 sample photos. I didn't see one sample on a person with dark skin like mine. So if you look in hospitals, it's actually much harder. Doctors struggle to diagnose skin cancer on Africans. Why? One, because it's our skin color, but also because they weren't trained to diagnose skin cancer on darker skinned people. Again, somebody who's studying farming in Poland is going to be very different to farming in Kenya or Nairobi. And so the key thing we need to look at is the content that we're teaching our young people and the skills we want them to develop really benefits them, and not that it benefits them to go off around the world and study around the world and work around the world and get jobs around the world. Actually, we need a curriculum that's going to help our young people to thrive on the continent of Africa. We want Africans to see Africa as their first choice destination for their careers. When young people are choosing universities, when young people are thinking, where do I want to set up my business, they need to look at these global hubs within Africa first before they look at moving to the UK. We get a lot of or moving to America or moving to Germany. Actually, the curriculum is really important for the curriculum to be for Africans. And so I myself, I was born and I grew up in the UK. However, I'm moving to Nairobi, Kenya. So I'll be in Nairobi. I currently live in the UAE, in Dubai, but I'm moving to Nairobi, Kenya for this specific reason. We want to connect with young people and really help them thrive. Because Juliet mentioned it earlier, all right? Education, the Western world has used it as a form of colonialization, right? It's probably the deepest form. And actually, what we need to look at is how can we empower this generation of young people to free themselves in terms of an education, all right? And let's not follow another curriculum which sort of acts as a hand-me-down curriculum. Let's not be 20 years behind the British curriculum. Actually, let's use our curriculum to get 20 years ahead of the British curriculum, the International Baccalaureate curriculum, the American curriculum. There is no reason why African youth can't be the dominating youth of 2050. When companies are thinking about where they want to set up, where they want to hire their youth, they really need to be looking to Africa first. And so that's one thing we did over at eduhara.com. Our curriculum, really, what we decided to do was we first came up with the thought, how can we make sure that the curriculum is centered around Africa? And so what we did is we based our curriculum around the African Union's 2063 agenda. And from that, we then went on to develop the content framework and the skills framework. Again, skills such as critical thinking, okay, content such as creating a independent Africa, creating an Africa where a borderless Africa where Africans can travel, okay. It's so important that us as Africans really drive this forward. Not only for us, but it's actually our responsibility, it's our duty to drive forward this education revolution in Africa with our young people. So if you do know anyone that's between the ages of 5 to 18, get them signed up on eduhara.com. If you go and sign up, you can sign in with a Google account, create a simple password. And what you can do is you can create a bespoke co-curricular program. So we started off allowing our users to create co-curricular programs. However, after, we're actually going to move into a full model where we develop and open our own school. And we're going to have a curriculum where schools can use without having to rely on another curriculum. So keep your comments coming in the chat. What do you think, if you go back to your school days, what do you think you were missing from your education that would have helped you thrive in an African curriculum in not only 2026, but actually in the future? So do comment and give us the thumbs up as well. I think the internet's working again, is it? Are we all back on?
I didn't need hotspot from mine. Yeah. We're just going to change internet. Yeah. 1 second. Because it seems to be resetting. It's the phone. Oh. iPhone. Yeah. I told you don't like iPhone. Give me Android.
I'm a Samsung.
No, you go ahead and carry on. We're back. Carry on.
Yeah, so I was really talking about the importance of an African curriculum that's for Africans. I was speaking, I gave the example of when you go to medical school, a lot of the skin samples you might look at are not of African skin samples. So doctors don't actually learn to diagnose cancers or skin ailments on Black people. I was speaking about how farming in somewhere like Poland is very different to farming in somewhere like Accra, Ghana, for example. And so the importance of it is it's so important, shall I say? And yeah, I can see some comments coming through. So keep the comments coming, okay? And we're actually in such a privileged position because we're at the forefront of the African education revolution, and we're going to lead this revolution. And you'll be surprised how much progress we can make by just changing our curriculum. I say just, it is a big thing, but educating the youth for the future will, in your old age, it will be the best thing. We'll turn around and it will be the best thing we have done. So keep the comments coming. Eduhara.com. So I'm representing eduhara.com, where you can create your own bespoke African curriculum. Okay? Keep the comments coming. So let's go to our comments. I'm going to see what they're saying in the comments. Let's have a look what everyone's saying. Okay, so Charlotte Oshodi said we need an education for the future. Yeah, definitely. A lot of curricula around the world, not only what students are studying in Africa, but if you go to all countries around the world, a lot of what the students are studying is very outdated. So yeah, Charlotte's definitely right that we need a curriculum for the future. Alpha Day Runner says, "Greetings, Anthony. Think there are timely upcoming events to coincide with a game plan for the future. Not a curriculum per se, but very related." Yeah, I think there's a lot of things happening now which will all tie in very nicely to the African education revolution. And remember the saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, we go together. So it's down to us. It's our responsibility to empower the youth to go far, and the only way we can do that is by going together. Right. We have another comment from Alpha Day Runner saying many great independent educators, African educators. Very true. There's a lot of global networks as well around the world. So yeah, very true. And it's our responsibility to come together to not only make sure we have schools owned by Africans and great schools in Africa, but actually the key thing is the curriculum, ensuring that we have a curriculum there for everyone. So yeah, thank you for your comments. Keep them coming. Keep your comments coming. And yeah, so we're currently on a segment. If you've just joined, we're currently on a segment where we're talking about empowering the African youth for tomorrow. Are we all up and running with internet?
Yeah, we're trying to just change over. We're just trying to change over because it's either I'm freezing or you're freezing. It's very strange. I've never quite had this.
Yeah, I think you may be freezing. But in the meantime, I tried to keep your guests company. They were giving me comments in the chat as well, which was good. We had good interaction. So yeah, it's been productive.
Yeah, no, continue. And remember that the number of views that you see on the screen aren't the actual views. I will try and do a screenshot at the end so you'll see the actual views.
Lovely.
Because that's not the actual views. It's people that are interacting at that time. YouTube changed it, and so it's a little bit misleading.
Yeah.
So
we still have great comments coming through. So we have another comment from Charlotte. It says, "How do we link this to an African-owned business or African-owned businesses?" Now the key thing is that's such a great question, because with our African curriculum, so for example, over at eduhara.com, we are so passionate about having students walk away from their studies with an African curriculum, but most importantly, a portfolio of their work. Now, if we think about businesses, often students will apply to jobs in universities with their paper CV and their paper written cover letter. But actually, what students are walking away with for example, with our curriculum, is they're walking away with a portfolio with videos, with sample pictures, with example mini businesses they set up, challenges they've completed. And so businesses can actually look, if businesses are looking for the next generation of innovators, leaders, and entrepreneurs, they can actually look at the students' portfolio. So that's one thing we've actually, over at Eduhara, we've been very passionate about linking not only the curriculum to what the students are doing, but making sure that they can walk away with a portfolio and a body of work, okay? So that was a great question, thank you. Let's see what other questions we have coming through. We did have a question about an example of a content area that's really important. I think, for example, so by trade, I'm an educator. And so I remember once teaching about locusts in the biology classroom, teaching students about how to use pesticides, but also non-toxic pesticides. We know that, the issues that can come with pesticides in terms of health, in terms of environmental issues such as eutrophication. So all of these are such relevant topics for our youth of tomorrow to interact with and start thinking about it now. If we wait until our youth are in the workplace to start to tackle Africa's next big challenges, it's actually too late. It's down to us, it's our responsibility to have our young people looking at the challenges that we're going to face in 2050, 2100. We want them looking at those challenges now. And that's how we're going to have all 54 economies, all 54 markets in the African on the African continent really, really thriving. So thank you. Great questions coming through. Keep your questions coming. For those of you just joining, we're looking at how can we create a bespoke African curriculum and why is that important? So do keep your questions and your comments coming. We are currently live. Right, we do have another. Somebody has said that there are many sort of education conventions now popping up in the African curricula, on the African continent, sorry. That is very, very true. But the thing that we'll notice when you go to these education summits, these education conferences, they're great, and I love to champion them because they're also on the continent of Africa, which is so exciting. But the thing to remember is a lot of these summits and schools are still using a curriculum that was developed for 1950. A lot of the schools, these summits are based around the British curriculum or the International Baccalaureate or the American curriculum. But actually, we want a curriculum for the future. So that's why it's so important. That's why we're here today. That's why we're coming to you today as well. Really, it's really a community effort. So if you do know any young people under the age of 18, between the ages of 5 to 18, do head over to eduhara.com. That's eduhara.com. Over there, your young people can sign in, okay, with the help of an adult if they're really young, and they can create a bespoke curriculum. And with that, what they can do is they can go off and do tasks
That's better.
around their areas using local resources, really allowing them to start to think really early on about how they can thrive in Africa. I see we're back up and running.
Yeah, we are. We changed over to a different internet. Now,
Brilliant.
one of the questions that I had is that recently, with obviously what's happening in South Africa, I think what you're doing would be really apt because one of the things that I think has happened is what I call amnesia. And with America, trying to erase, there's a lot of erasure of our history, a lot of erasure of our past going on. So, future generations aren't aware of our accomplishments, they're unaware of our struggles, and they're unaware of our rich history and of our heroes, our sheroes, and our accomplishments. But particularly, they're not aware of the contributions of other nations even to their liberation, to their freedom. So, say for example, like in South Africa at the moment, this generation of March to March, March on March, who are going and targeting other African brothers and sisters, from Ghana, for example, from Nigeria, for example. They're not aware of how much these nations contributed and gave asylum and contributed financially uh, to South Africa and supported South Africa through the transition and out of apartheid. And if they would have done, they would have more of a respectful and appreciative and more embracing, more family kind of, welcoming and loving attitude to their brothers from other African countries. And they would really target their anger at the people that were responsible for apartheid. The people from from England, the people from the Netherlands, the Germans, they would really target their anger at the people that are actually responsible for their colonization and for the apartheid and for the knock-on effects of that apartheid, all the spin-offs and the unfortunate legacy and inheritance that they've had because their country is still controlled and economically controlled, particularly by white people and who have dispossessed them of their land, dispossessed them of their rare earth, dispossessed them of their minerals, and are dispossessing them of their farmlands, dispossessing them of their indigenous lands, and dispossessing them daily and claiming rights to land that is not even theirs. Even today, it's going on in 2026. So why aren't they, targeting those people? Like I said, how can you go to McDonald's and kill someone in McDonald's for coming from Ethiopia? When in fact, and for having businesses out there, why aren't you taking over the McDonald's? If you really want to target foreign nationals, why aren't you taking over the McDonald's? It makes no sense. Why are you targeting innocent people walking down the road and then beating them, physically manhandling them, and assaulting them so terribly for being nothing? Who could choose where they want to be born? Could anyone choose where they were born? Could you choose where you were born? So this is what I'm saying. By us having our own curriculum and by having our own education, we can make sure that those components of history, particularly the awful history and what was done to us, is not erased from history. So what you're doing is crucial and important. So explain to me, just in short words, a few words, sorry, I know I sort of went on, in just a few words, how, having our own curriculum and education can ensure that this erasure stops.
Yeah, I think what you said some very powerful things there. And I think the first key thing, and the saying we know, is we in order to know where we're going, we need to know where we've come from and we need to know our history. And that is so important. And that's what we've embedded within our curriculum. We need to understand our history, we need to understand our land, we need to understand African health, we need to understand things that make Africa thrive. And the way that we've done that within our curriculum is by creating a content base that is based around these areas. Like I mentioned earlier to everyone that was on the line, our curriculum over at Eduhara, we've based it on the African Union's 2063 agenda. So the actual content that students are going to be engaging with, that are going to be acquiring and learning, we've based our content curriculum around that to ensure that students understand African history, African farming, African business, African healthcare, the African Union. And not only that, we've then tied that content to a skill set that's so important for 2050. So, for example, ensuring that young Africans develop those critical thinking skills, those use of technology skills. We really want them to become innovators, leaders, and entrepreneurs of the future. And that's how we're going to be doing it. We're going to be marrying an African curriculum with a future based skill set. And when those two come together, that will be the African education revolution well and truly underway and on its way. I'm just going through the comments, seeing what anyone else is saying. Are we back up and running with the internet? Everything's all good? I think there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be where you are. It could be
Oh.
where you are.
Oh, okay, could be me.
Maybe.
It's me in the UAE. I'm currently in the UAE at the moment, so it could be me.
Yeah, I've not experienced this. Last week we had an issue with South Africa.
Yes.
We had an issue with we had someone on from South Africa as our guest, and we did have an issue there. So I'm using another phone. So I'm watching you from another phone. That's a new way to
Oh,
keep
okay, I see.
cheating. Yeah. So yeah, Liliani Resurrection said a curriculum or a United African Constitution whereby the curriculum is introduced. That's what she said. She's just made a suggestion there. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, and I think that's why we're really coming to the community. Eduhara, obviously the edu means educated, and hara can mean neighborhood, right? And so a curriculum for a United African Union, that's the first place we started, which is why we really, at the center of our curriculum, is the African Union's 2063 agenda to ensure that in schools, it's tying up to government initiatives, to company initiatives, to the African Union's initiative. So yeah, she's definitely raised a very good point. And when we start there, we'll ensure that our students are ready to come out of school, not behind like current curricula around the world leave students, but actually ahead and ready to become Africa's next innovators, leaders, and entrepreneurs.
Well, I say education is the key to everything.
Yeah, yeah,
Without wisdom, how do we learn? And
yeah,
so it's important that we have our own syllabus, we have our own curriculum,
yeah,
and that we have our own learning tools. And like I said, we have to teach our children from home first.
yeah,
And with more people turning to online schooling now,
yeah.
I think it's really important. And I know as you grow, you will also have those other aspects of those other curriculums. But it would be lovely for us just to have English and maths from them, and have our own other curriculum items from Africa. That would be from an African perspective. Now that would be amazing because I mean, listen, you go to France, they teach you in French.
Yes.
Okay, you go to Italy, they teach you in Italian. You come to Africa, they're teaching you in.
English.
So
Or
I mean,
French.
yeah, and so I know that there was the talk of adopting Kiswahili as, and just like they have Mandarin in Chinese, although they have many languages, they have a national language which is Mandarin. And so I hope that we have a national African language, whether it's Kiswahili or whatever. So we all just learn one language. We have our own individual languages attached to our culture and our ethnic groups, etc. But in terms of like for business and so on, we have one African language which other people are forced to go and learn. The same way we're forced to go and learn Mandarin, or we're forced to go and learn French, or we're forced to. And so I do hope that languages will be a part of your curriculum in
Yeah,
future as well.
and that is so important what you've mentioned, because once we're able to communicate in our own language, the collaboration that will flourish from that will be so beautiful, and it's so exciting to think of what can come from this curriculum, starting from youth right the way down from 5 years old, creating an African-based curriculum that will really prepare them. So yeah, no, you're on the money. So over at Eduhara, we do have a few different options available. So people can go on right now for free and create their own African curriculum in terms of students giving their young people opportunities to do tasks in their local community, or even thinking about, okay, we're going on holiday to another African country, maybe do tasks and engaging with the local market that way. But we also actually do have an online schooling version where, so via our website, eduhara, H-A-R-A, so eduhara.com, they can actually upgrade to take part in a full curriculum. And like you mentioned, so many parents now are now realizing that they're not getting the best deal from the schools that their young people are going to. Even parents that pay for some of these expensive private schools around the world, they're really starting to realize that actually their young people are studying an outdated curriculum. Their young people are not developing the skills for the future. And if you're African focused, they're not studying the curriculum for Africa. So I love global politics and African history. I studied history. I studied in the UK, and I didn't learn anything about African history actually. And so it really took myself to go and learn that for myself. So yeah, you've definitely hit the nail on the head in terms of language, in terms of history, in terms of skill set, being so important for a curricula. So eduhara.com is where they can all find us.
Yeah, Eduhara, everybody. Eduhara. Catherine, can you write Eduhara in the comment section for me, please? With the big phone.
Okay. I'm just going through some of the comments.
Did you leave it a moment? So I was saying to you, I know that your family historically from West Africa, and happy Mother's Day to you, Charlesy. Yeah.
She's watching.
Oh, is she? Hi,
Yeah.
Charlesy. You're right, my darling. Big kisses to you. I haven't seen you for a long time.
Yeah.
So I was saying that I know you're from West Africa, your family. I remember your family very well.
Yeah.
And from the UK, of course. But why did you choose to go to Kenya? I'm not. I'm no disparages on Kenya, but Kenya has a lot of bureaucracy. Especially in terms of residency, etc. So, and I know you're from Ghana, so you would have had absolutely no red tape. Why did you choose Kenya? Not that Kenya is not a good choice.
Yeah, no, so we're really
asking.
excited about our upcoming move to Kenya. It really came as a family decision based on opportunities for us as a family to be able to thrive, and also some partners we're working with and some schools that want us to roll out the curricula as a co-curricular program. So it served as a really good base for us because we had a few local schools that want us to work with them as well. So that's why we chose Nairobi, Kenya. So hello to anyone that's in Kenya. We will be there from August 2026. So we're very excited about the move.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for you because I'm glad that you're leaving from the Arab states and now coming back to Africa.
Yes.
And so you're doing the BlaXit. And so I'm very happy that you're doing the BlaXit.
We followed BlaXit for a long time, and we've always mentioned that term, and yeah, we're now finally doing the BlaXit. It nearly happened in 2021. However, the whole COVID situation wasn't the right time for us to move as a family. So yeah, we're very excited. I remember bringing so I've got 3 children, and I remember bringing my children to on holiday. We went to Tanzania on holiday, and my children just felt. We've been on holiday in many locations, but they really felt at home when they first touched the continent. Honestly, we were out the window looking at the continent, and we were just like, wow. And so they're super excited, and and that's why this curriculum is actually, it's more than a business that we've set up. Actually, it's a real passion because with young children myself, I really understand the need for them to have an African-based curriculum and a future-based skill set for them in the future. So I really started off thinking about the curriculum based on what do I want from my children? How are my children going to thrive? And that's where we all got started, really.
It's a phenomenal idea. Can I just say I congratulate you.
Thank you.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. I don't want you to just come on here once. I want this to be a continual relationship that BlaXit has. I'm hoping that maybe BlaXit can be one of your advertisers or something like that.
Yes.
And that we can constantly talk about it, because I'm going to tell you this. We need to rid ourselves of these colonial-minded leaders. Ibrahima Traore has shown us that if you have the right mind, you have the right leadership, that possibilities are endless for Africa. But what we do have is that we have these colonial minded, colonially educated, and colonially controlled leaders who are leading us in Africa, and they are doing the white man's bidding. When you're educated with a black mind, you are not going to bend. You are not going to succumb yourself to feel as though you need to have a white man to pay your bills. For example, President Nandi of Namibia. In fact, yesterday I was talking to someone about this very same subject. She has cleared her IMF debt. She has cleared her World Bank loans for Namibia. They are debt free, out of the white man's clutches and control. And this does not come from colonial thinking. It comes from, sovereignty thinking. It comes from solidarity thinking. It comes from Pan-African thinking. And this is why, part of your curriculum, what I love about it is the Pan-Africanism that is embedded within it, because our future leaders need to come from our own curriculum. We need to know about Africa. If you're going to lead Africa, you need to know about Africa. You don't need to know about the Battle of Hastings.
Yeah.
Do you know? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's time
yeah.
for us to have an African focused education. It is time for us to have an African focused way of thinking, because you see, the way you think determines your life. If you have a lack mindset, and the Western system, it makes you and engages you in feeling less than, othered, and it makes you feel inferior by design, and this design was made many years ago by the Rothschilds. And many people aren't aware of who actually designed the curriculum in the education system and why. They designed it for us to be slaves to the system. They designed it for us to be manual laborers. They designed it for us to always be employed. They didn't design it for us to be entrepreneurial and to be independent and to move forward and to engage with each other across the continent. It's not designed for us to, have strategies, business strategies, war strategies, and if you like, especially agricultural strategies. That are there to benefit us, and especially strategies regarding the usage of our raw materials and our raw resources. That what they've done for so long is just stripped us dry by buying them raw rather than us refining. And you don't see what they've done to Dangote recently? What did I say to Dangote? Oh no, there's too much sulfur in your oil. Absolute poppycock, when they're buying it from India, which is far dirtier. I'm sick and tired of the fact that, they just want to sell. But what did Dangote do? He didn't turn around and say no. He made a deal with Uganda. He made a deal with Rwanda. He made a deal with Congo and DRC to build, another pipeline. We said, well, we'll use our own oil then. F you, and so I love that. I love this self-sufficiency, but this self-sufficiency comes from an education in which we believe in ourselves. And if we keep educating ourselves with the white man's education, we will only come out with the white man's mindset. And the only way to come out with our own independent thinking and with our own confidence in ourselves is because we have self-knowledge. And self-knowledge comes from an education. I am very proud of myself because I became an autodidact from a very young age, and I decided that I didn't believe a word of it. I wanted to find out, about my own people. I went to Africa for the first time, like when I was 22. I encouraged the children. I remember when they all went to Kenya, in fact, yeah. And
Yeah.
the thing is that moving forward, our future leaders, given access to this kind of curriculum, We will have a different type of leadership across Africa. So we will no longer have the independent states. We will have what Kwame Nkrumah wanted, which was the United States of Africa, or the United Empires of Africa, as I call it. You know, why is it so hard for diasporans from who are African descendants to get citizenship across the whole continent of Africa? Why is it that AU is having such a problem just pulling out an AU passport for everybody, a sixth region passport? How can it take this long? But yet, you know, Korea can change their constitution overnight to say they're going to bomb everybody. What I'm saying is, yeah, is that we have to become, responsive. We have to become, definitely, one of the problems that we have is that we're not accountable. We lack accountability, and we have to be accountable for our failings and for our failures. We have to be. And one of the failures that we have is that we relied on our enemies to educate us. We relied on our enemies to try to accommodate us. We relied on our enemies to feed us, to give us money, to give us aid. We relied on our enemies to give us their opinion, and we valued that. We're always seeking validation, always seeking acceptance, always seeking their audience. We don't need it. We don't need to go to all of their stupid ass conferences to learn, when we can learn from each other here in Africa. And we can trade with each other here in Africa.
Yeah.
We can trade with each other in the Caribbean. We can trade with each other across Africa, across the Caribbean, into Melanesia. Across the whole globe, we can trade with each other. And this is a thing, but unless we know about each other's history, we understand that we are in so many different locations, by having an African geography lesson, by having an African curriculum, that's how we know, oh yes, there are Black people in West Papua. These people are under genocide, and yes, we need to help. We need to, put this on our channels. For example, I Show Speed showed a lot of people a lot about Africa, and that was via social media, and made people have a different perspective on Africa. Woda Maya has been doing the same thing. Woda Maya interviewed me. In fact, that's even the reason for the trajectory of BlaXit. So, without going and digging too deep, because I'm very passionate about education. I'm very passionate about books. I'm very passionate about learning, because this is going to be how we get our reparations. Right? Part of our reparations is taking back our knowledge of self, taking back our ancestral knowledge, taking back our ancestral spirituality without it being demonized. Because that's all they're doing, is they're making themselves look great. They're talking about their royal family. What about our royal families? What about our empresses? What about our kings? What about our emperors? What about our great minds? What about, our history in Kemet and Kush? What about our Nubians, our great Nubians? What about Aramaic? So yeah, I'm having my usual rant. But I just like to say that, on this Mother's Day, we need to, also make sure that in the curriculum it is also balanced.
Yes.
And we give credit to our great mothers and our great fathers.
Yeah.
Because we always find that they talk about, the male side of things, but not the female side of things. They talk about the gods, but they don't talk about the goddesses.
Yeah.
And so that balance is so important. We have to undo a lot of the mystification and disinformation that has been spread about us. And the only way that we can do that is by learning ourselves, for ourselves, by ourselves. So I want you to be, a regular fixture on BlaXit.
Yes.
This is not the first. This is one of many, okay?
Yeah, now I'm very excited to come and all engage with the BlaXit community, spreading such a powerful message. And over at Eduhara, we're really, really invested in creating this Pan-African curriculum for all Africans. So yeah, this is the first of many conversations.
I'm sure it is, and I don't want to take up all your time. Yeah, but I would like to say, can you please give out the website information once again?
Yeah.
Obviously, thank you very much there, Maud. I can see you're doing a great job.
Yes.
If you could give out the, there's a lot of messages that you've missed as well. Alpha Day Runner said the intersection of politics and aspirations. The masters understand the mind as the battlefield, 100%. Curriculums designed for their own advancement and our repression. Exactly. What do you say to that?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think I love that section in there that says the masters understand the mind as the battlefield, the mind. And so it's our responsibility, like I mentioned, on this Mother's Day, to ensure that we have the framework, we have the content curriculum to pass on to our young people so that their mind, they can win that battlefield, that battle that's happening in the mind. So yeah, no, definitely a great to continue it. It's eduhara.com. I can see it was posted in the group chat. But it can
Post it again, Charlesy. Put it in the group chat for me, and kisses to you, darling. And I'm going to force him to give you a great Mother's Day message before he
Yeah.
leaves.
Happy
Okay.
Mother's Day, Charlotte. We love you. Thank you for being our great African mother of our household, keeping everything together as well.
Oh,
So that's
Empress.
Empress, yeah. So that's eduhara.com. It will be in the chat. Head over there, play around and build your own bespoke African curriculum. And build it around your local context. Share it with your young people. And if you'd like to support us over in Eduhara, we are really planning to make this Africa's curriculum. Do upgrade and get your young people to sign up for one of our premium curriculums where they can really go on. They get an African-based mentor. They get group sessions. We have experiential days. So that's Hara, HARA.com. And I look forward to connecting with the BlaXit community much more. So thank
Okay,
you,
so
everyone.
look, I'm going to show you. I've got my computer here. So when I'm finished, I'm going to log on to Eduhara. Okay.
Brilliant.
Eduhara. So I've got it there, and I will open up and log into Eduhara. So I want everybody else, to get their laptops and to go onto Eduhara. Now there are some comments. Alpha Day Runner's got a comment for you. I'd like you to respond to.
Okay. Let's have a look. Sorry. So it says in NYC, the push their curriculum into the school system despite popular objection. The Zios are flooding into Ruto's Kenya. Beware. I think what the focus of our curriculum is really about uniting Africa and looking at the light. There's challenges everywhere. So really looking at what are the opportunities? How can we really advance our young people? It's really about our young people for the future. We want a united Africa. We want the African youth to feel united. We want Kenyan brothers to feel connected to their Nigerian sisters, who feel connected to their South African brothers and aunties, and we all want to feel connected. So we're really focused on a pan-African collaboration. So that's eduhara.com, who really is going to lead the charge on this African education revolution.
Well, Kenya is beautiful. Kenya is absolutely an amazing place to be. And I know that you're going to absolutely love your experience there, especially the children, especially with the wildlife park that goes all the way around. Nairobi is amazing. So, and the culture, the food, the people, the vibrant energy of Kenya, the diversity. I mean, I just love Africa. I'm super biased. I just love Africa, and hopefully I'll come and see you there. That will be lovely. Maybe at when I've decided to start my Africa tour.
Yes.
So I have been invited to some other places, including South Africa this week, actually.
Amazing.
So who knows? I might organise one for next year. But in the meantime, I would like to say thank you for coming on to BlaXit.
Thank you, everyone.
I have a couple questions. Let me try and find them just before. I go. Let me find this question. What's the person's name? Oh, baby. Where's this person? I got some message, some questions, and I have to answer them because it's been a little bit long before I actually I where's he gone? I'm really sorry, I've forgotten the name, so I'm having to scroll to find the person who sent me these messages. But I know once I see their thing, unless they've changed their icon or something, then I might not see it. Mine is someone the other day thought I was a man because I had Ibrahima Traore as
Oh, it's your
my
picture.
thingamajig. Yeah, yeah. Okay, here it is. So the question that was asked by was okay. Wow, it's quite a few actually. I didn't realise it was so many. So I'm trying to choose the best questions. Okay, have I visited East Africa before? That was the question. The answer is no, I haven't, but I intend to. And have I considered being an ambassador? Would love to. That was the other question. How did it feel when you finished your home? Amazing. I was really excited. I was ecstatic. I was really pleased. In fact, waking up every morning is totally liberating. This is the answer that I wrote back. I find peace in being in my own home and in my own land and in my own continent. Um, it's really an easy life, and it's much easier here. It's less stressful. Gambia is very peaceful and calm. It's not the same as other living in England, especially in terms of bureaucracy and development. It's more like living on a tropical island, living here in the Gambia. It's also the smallest country, and it has an established tourism market like Kenya and other countries. And it's surrounded by beaches and rivers, and its population is not really mixed, that much mixed. It's a Muslim country, and it's affordable to live and build, and it's fertile to farm. And it has two seasons, dry season and wet season. And right now we're in mango season. So lots of mangoes, watermelons, oranges, and I think there's like maybe like 50 variations of different palm trees. So they asked me that one. What was the other question? Um, um, oh wow, these are long questions. I'm trying to find a short one. Hang on. Okay. I'm just gonna scroll and just take one. I think that's the easiest thing to do because if not, I'll be taking too much time. Okay, they asked me about the reason why I haven't been posting too much to my main channel is because we're not monetized anymore. So literally, I try to reduce it because we've been shadow banned. And so I prefer the lives because it's interactive. And there's a lot of channels going around showing stuff, lots of channels doing that. And I think the most important thing for us right now is to look into our mind and our mindsets, because that's what's really going to change the future. I can go and show you the new Aziz Mall. I can show you, the building of the new Dollar Mall, and all of that. And you'll think, oh yeah, it's just like Europe. But I don't want that. I want you to feel about an authentic Africa, and I want you to realize that Africa is not just about going to the mall or going to the beach. It's an experience, like I was talking and I said to someone, a mangi leka orange, yeah. Someone said to me, Siloneka. So I said, yeah, mangi, yeah, leka yoros, yeah. So what I was saying, they said to me, what are you doing, Siloneka? Yeah. And then I said, oh, I'm eating an orange because I was eating an orange, you know,
Yeah.
orange, yeah. Or orange, you know, depending on the pronunciation, different groups pronounce it differently. And you know, I was conversing, and they were laughing so much at, you know, the way that I speak the languages with a British accent.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so they were laughing. Any Gambians on, yeah, don't laugh at my accent. Yeah, I just want to say this, right? Because we're trying. So
Well, do you know, I fully understand Tree and I speak Tree, but Ghanaians also laugh when I speak Tree as well. So we're both we're both in the same boat.
yeah. So I was saying that, you know, maybe we could put authentic word sounds or something in there when we're teaching languages or something. But
Yeah.
the question is, am I fluent? Yeah. The answer is, did it? That means no. Yeah. To give a lingua wolof. And that also means I'm not very good at speaking Wolof, but I try. Okay,
Yeah.
so tutti tutti, you know, tutti tutti, little by little by little by little, you know. Yeah, yeah, tutti tutti. And so I think those are the main questions. I think the other ones were around repatriation. Are there any repatriation plots left? Now I reserved the last plot at Serenity Estate, but there are still plots in Aneto Sion and possibly Gunjur. So do get in contact with me if you're interested in those two locations, and we will happily sort out your repatriation program. Yeah. And I do hope that you have a good person who's helping you with your repatriation in Kenya. If not, I have some colleagues out there that I'm sure will be able to support your
Yes,
transition. We
that would
don't
be
just work
that
in
would be
Gambia.
amazing actually. So yeah.
Yeah, I will sort you out. Okay, we'll talk
Yes.
privately, and I will give you the links to our team in Kenya. We have different BlaXit connections in different countries.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
I will do that for you. But I just want to say, please say your website again for everybody to hear,
Yeah.
and you'll be here again. I want you to be a very regular fixture.
Yeah.
You know, where hopefully you can make a program. I would love for you to make a program so we can put on our main channel. Just giving us a tutorial. If you could do that, I would love that. That would make my day.
That's definitely doable. I've got a couple recorded tutorials, but yeah, an interactive live tutorial for your community. You've got it.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah, please do, because you have
eduhara.com.
to make them individually now. You know, you can't share footage on YouTube anymore. You get all of these strikes and everything. So
Yes,
you'd have to make one especially for us,
I
okay?
will. No,
And then
I've
send it
got
to
you.
me
Don't
via
worry.
WeTransfer.
I've got you. Yeah, so it's eduhara, eduhara.com. Charlotte will put it in the chat. That's eduhara.com. Go over there, sign up, create your own curriculum for free. It gives the young people activities to do. And if you'd like to support us, you can upgrade where you get mentors, group sessions. There's experiential days coming. So lots and lots of exciting things. So you can look forward to this Eduhara BlaXit partnership.
Lovely. I'm looking forward to it. Education is the key, you know. As you
Education.
know, my mom was an educator for many years.
Yes.
So it's in the blood. It's in my aunt was a professor, my sister as well. She's late now. But
Oh, yes.
yeah, you know, and so I was thanking Sean, you know, for also being there as part of Jayan's life all the way till now. He's always been there. You know, I was thanking Keith for always being a part of, you know, my son's life and always being there, you know. And I was also thanking, you know, Katie for, you know, picking up the reins and being there where, you know, unfortunately, Adrian failed Caffrey. So, you know, thank you to all of those great men that have been a part of my life. I appreciate you so much. And this is Mother's Day, but we wouldn't be mothers without fathers. And
Yeah.
so those are the great fathers that have been part of my children's life. So, Sean, thank you. Keith, thank you so much. And Katie or Calada, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, you've all had a positive impression and positive input and guidance on my children, and I thank you so much. So thank you for being a great father too. Yeah, thank you so much, and
Yeah, no,
Charlesy for
and
being an amazing mother.
yeah, shout out to all the mothers out there. I've watched my mother and I've watched my wife do amazing jobs. So happy Mother's Day to everyone celebrating. And to
Okay,
yourself
and
as
thank you
well,
to
of
my
course.
lovely mum. Thank you to my lovely mum.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much, mum. Yeah, for making, and making me be the woman that I am, and inspiring me to be better, and to aspire to be a better woman every day. So thank you so
Brilliant.
much.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you. So listen, education's the key. Let's go ahead. Let's get right. Let's do this. I hope you enjoyed today's program. I will tell you the actual figures. I'll try and do a screenshot and send it to you to show you
Yes.
the actual engagement, because you can't judge one from the figures. As you know, we're shadow banned
Yeah.
because I tell people min a lot batiman. But anyway, asoka. It's not the African way. So take care,
Take
BlaXit
care.
family. Like I said, let's keep pushing that positive message. One Africa, one unity, one people. Let's hope that South Africa wakes up, smells the coffee, and stops this ignorance and stupid behavior, and realizes that we all need each other. Okay? So I love you, BlaXit family. Remember, love yourself. Yeah, love your families. And today, love your mothers more.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Thanks. Bye.